and honored to have been made part of this historic moment in the history of our country, the intent of which is to launch a national civil society movement, or the DOD, if you wish. But this conference takes place in the context of just one dimension of it, the 40th anniversary of the United Democratic Front, an organization or a front about which we still have a deep sense of nostalgia, which we closed down in 1991, the assumption being that all the support that it had bought would become part of the movement, the organizations that had been unbanned, especially the African National Congress. Alas, that did not happen. Now, to mark this important anniversary, former UDF leaders and members of the affiliates of the United Democratic Front and activists have convened a committee to celebrate outstanding and seminal role of the UDF in the struggle against apartheid. We call this initiative UDF 40. Why are we doing this? You may ask. Most, if not all of us, are of sedentary age where activity should entail brisk run across the golf course or chasing our grandchildren around our homes. Why then do we want to become involved, not just in activity, but in activism and in active citizenry, and to do so using the name of an organization which itself is in its 40s? We are doing so, comrades and friends, because as was the case in 1983, we all have a vital mission which is of critical importance to our country and our democracy. Put simply, we have to ensure that our democracy is not derailed, that the government of the day works for the benefit of the people, especially the poor, the working class, and the marginalized of our society. That public representatives are held accountable by both their constituencies and the rest of society, and that civil servants truly uphold the principles of and the ethos of Batupili. That is our mission, comrades. And as we do so, we must ensure that the history and legacy of the UDF is not just remembered, but that we draw lessons from its vision, its values, ethos, ideals, and modus operandi, and use them to inform the collective effort to defend, deepen, and strengthen South African democracy. Our theme for this crucial project is active citizenry for transformation and accountability. We thought that this theme was appropriate because it resonates with the general feeling of various organizations and many South Africans who feel disempowered by a government and public representatives who don't listen. Our approach is to ensure the tireless mobilization of the citizenry to be true agents of change, transformation, and accountability. Fundamentally, we must reassert and reinvigorate local communities and find new ways of giving a voice to the people. We must reassert the supremacy of our Constitution and demand accountability by public representatives. We must reaffirm the supremacy of our democracy and the Constitution. In the coming months, comrades, you will hear the mantra of the UDF 40, active citizenry. Active citizenry. Active citizenry. We will be taking this call to South Africans from all localities, provinces, and nationally, urging them to engage actively in issues that affect them at all levels of society. This is critical for the sustenance and strengthening of our democracy. But it also means that many South Africans will have to get off their passive armchairs, social media activism, and be prepared to work actively to take charge and engage communities to bring about change. We may want to invoke the overused, slogan or the overused slogan as we pursue this question of change and accountability. And that new slogan is the one that talks of the new woman and the new man. And that is the quote that comes from Paulo Freire, who says, the new man and the new woman did not appear by accident. The new man and the new woman are born in the revolutionary reconstruction of society, close quote. Now, to succeed, we will require that just active citizenry will require that not just active citizenry, but truly unity across the races, across ethnic groups is built. When the UDF was formed in 1983, it managed to unite on a common platform different socio-economic classes which were divided by class and race for the fight against apartheid, whilst at the same time ensuring that its affiliates identify and actively respond to their immediate and specific challenges. Indeed, the overarching demand and objective of a free and democratic society appealed to all these different socio-economic classes. Many leaders and activists who played such seminal roles during the UDF days are advanced in age. Some have passed on, such as Albertina Sisulu Achigumere, Beas Nodie, Francis Bart, Joseph Marx, Mewaram Gobin, Peter Nchabeleng, and many more. Given this assessment of the leadership of the UDF, what opportunity does this present for a creative generation of new leaders? I was asked last week what we were going to do to generate the new UDF, generation of UDF. I think this grouping gathered here has got a number of young intellectuals and activists who have the capacity to mobilize, coordinate, and engender that enthusiasm that we were able to build in the 80s. So we are asked, are we able to adapt to new conditions, to understand the concerns, demands, fears, and aspirations, especially of the younger generations, and then accommodate them so as to avoid political and social demobilization and apathy. Indeed, there are concerns that the older leaders don't adequately respond to the youth. And as a result, this leads either to political apathy or political delinquency, especially within our own political, worker, and civic structures, which invariably spills into the government and the wider society. Now we must change that. We must embrace the idea, values, and energy that younger generations bring and ensure them equal status in our work. There are reports that say significant numbers in our society, including the youth, don't have confidence in politicians, the government and state institutions. Now, because leadership at many levels seem to be out of touch with the youth, and as demonstrated by postures and ways of responding to their issues and challenges, there are serious problems with many young people not having any agency and thus failing to respond to what Frantz Fanon said. Each generation must come out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, and fulfill it or betray it. Therefore, I have no hesitation in stating that we must unite young and old activists in meaningful ways if we are truly to bring about change. The incontrovertible truth is that every generation starts with the legacy of the generation that preceded it. And therefore, the legacy and the meaning of the UDF formation, its pursuit of non-racialism, non-sexism, its expansive mobilization and organization of South Africans, its ability to instill hope in the people, its internal democracy and accountability are the values we must now embrace as a relatively new society that we are, as we strive forward to preserve and protect these values. Now, I think I may quote one of the most quotables of our time. When we are faced with challenges, we want to say what is to be done. You see, The chairperson wants me to go. I'm bantling with my notes that are very small. Certainly many citizens are disconnecting from democratic processes. There is an urgent need to mobilize and activate the citizenry so as to arrest the downwards trajectory to which the country is inexorably heading. Given the multiple problems in the political power plays taking place at present, there is a great possibility that come 2024, the elections may produce a hung parliament. If that was to happen, national politics may experience the repeat of current chaos and anarchy that is characterizing our metros, be it Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, Nelson Mandela Bay, and even the big city of Johannesburg. So the dire consequences would be that of poor service delivery, less accountability, less attention to the important matters of socio-economic transformation. Undoubtedly, South Africa would be characterized by bad and delinquent governance, and exacerbating, therefore, the already high levels of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And inevitably, therefore, it would lead to greater social instability. It therefore behoves every progressive in the country, including those present today, to act boldly and mobilize different sectors of society to find ways of seriously interrogating this possible reality and work out appropriate solutions for our country. We believe the UDF 40th anniversary will provide the necessary leverage to unleash every energy and creativity of our citizenry. And it will do so at all levels of society. We believe the UDF anniversary, like in the UDF days, should allow multiple thoughts to bloom. At the same time, there should be encouragement to the citizenry to focus on well-thought-out plans to engage different spheres of government on legislation programs, projects, and plans that would have a positive impact on communities and especially the poor. These should be levers that drive for active citizenry transformation and accountability. Partnerships should be formed, driven by a clear focus of working tirelessly to defend and to deepen the gains of our democracy and advance the democratic dividends of our society. Can I make just the last few points? Can I make the last few points? I'm sorry about this. Well, I'm being pushed, so I'm going to skip quite a bit of what I'm presenting. I think, in conclusion, I must say that priority should be a well-planned, strategic, and coherent reintroduction into public and media spaces of the voices of progressive policy experts across areas such as macroeconomic, economics, development, finance, science, innovation, transport, housing, health, education, social security, safety, and the criminal justice system. The arts and culture and sports should be harnessed to our programs of mobilizing society. In this way, I think progressive voices can reclaim the public policy space and so regain moral, value-led, intellectual, and principled leadership in society, thus activating hope, optimism, and engendering confidence that the dire state of our nation can be turned around. If we are to succeed, active citizenry should find strategic ways to engage and partner with corporate sector with the well-considered programs and projects that can motivate and lead to tangible changes to the poor and marginalized communities. Active citizenry should network with well-endowed foundations, corporate social responsibility programs, so that these are developmental and sustainable. Active citizenry should work in communities to receive and revive local advice centers, which should also serve as skills development centers. Ways would have to be found to network with corporate sector and also to work with sector education and training authorities, the SITAs. Active citizenry should work with organizations that are seized with education issues to help improve both the education facilities as well as levels of teaching and learning, promoting people and away from the pervasive drug and alcohol abuse. Thank you very much, program. Thank you.